How's it going, Classic Mini Fabrication Nation? I do like watching YouTube, and one of my favourites is the Fab Forums. This chap, he knows how to make stuff, and he's got a brilliant channel. And what I really like is every Friday he shows me his tool. No, not like that. Like this. It's Friday, fool, and you need this tool in your Classic Mini toolbox. With this light on and these sunglasses, I can't see a thing. Well, I'm quite pleased with how the front bulkhead has come out. It took a lot longer than I was expecting, but what I was worried about was getting some heat distortion in that big long flat panel. And it's not quite flat, it's got a little bit of distortion. But overall, I'm very happy with it. So I've given everything a coat in 2-pack primer because, again, looking on YouTube on other channels, a lot of the restoration guys recommend that you give it a good coat in that stuff. Because what I didn't realise, and it's quite obvious actually, is that primer, like your normal spray on primer, is actually porous, and it's porous for a reason, because when you put your next layer of paint on, it actually has to soak into the primer to help it bond. The bad point in that is that moisture gets into it, and also sort of, so the rust can come through and stuff like that. But if you use 2-pack primer, it makes a much better, more robust finish, and it lasts a lot longer if you're doing a long-term restoration. So that's what I did. Anyway, now it's time, I think, to chop the floor out. So let's have a quick tour underneath, and you can see, yeah, it's got the full length width seals on it, commonly known as over seals. When I've chopped around it in the past, somebody hasn't actually covered up the old seal, but they've just chosen to use this full width seal, which gets a bit of a bad reputation. And you can see where that seal meets the floor pan, it's proper cheese. It's had it. So I could just put new half floors in it and that sort of stuff, but you know what? For the price, it's the same price to buy a new floor as it is 2 halves. So I just want to give it a go and see what happens. I am making this up, so please note this is not an instructional video. It is just me doing stuff and showing you. So hey, we'll find out what happens together. Let's crack on. Something a bit more restoration orientated, and you've seen me using these a lot in the past, and these are spot weld drill bits. There's 2 types. Well, the whole idea of a spot weld drill bit is to drill a hole where 2 bits of metal have been spot welded in the factory, so that you can separate the 2 bits of metal. If you can see that, but that's one style, so it's got like a dimple and a flat drill bit rather than like a pointy drill bit, which is normal. And the idea is then it cuts around, no it doesn't, it cuts out the drill. So what it does, it cuts a hole. I don't know really how that one works. I don't like that one, it's not my favourite. This is my favourite one. So that one actually cuts around the spot weld. So it cuts a circle around it and it leaves the spot weld on the bit of metal behind. And obviously these teeth wear out, but they unscrew. I genuinely can't see a thing. So look, and they're double-sided, and you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus that one's 6, and they last for ages. So anyway, you stick it in your drill, and that little pin there, which is sprung load, stick it in the middle of the spot weld. So hang on, no, how would you start? You find out where your spot weld is. Normally a bit of sandpaper over it always helps. Stick your centre punch in the middle of the spot weld. That makes a dent in the middle of your spot weld, and then the idea is that little pin locates in that dent, and then as you fire it up, it cuts a nice little circle around it. But I've found that it's actually better to get a small drill bit and actually make a hole for that pin to sit in, because if you don't, when this is moving around, it has a tendency to go all over the place and makes a bit of a hash job. But if you actually drilled a tiny little hole in it, just big enough for that to sort of sit in there properly, then it actually makes a nice clean cut and a good job. So, the tool you need in your Classic Mini restoration toolkit is the spot weld drill bit. This is a good one. The colleagues at work bought me this for my birthday. Any idea what it is? It's for taking the inner CV joints off your Classic Mini, the pop joint type. You know the ones, the big black ones that got the ball bearings in, and they sort of clip on to the diff output shaft. Trying to get those buggers off is really hard. You can't, because they're held on by a Cclip, or like a ring clip, and you need to like tap them off. And sometimes I get I get like a punch and a hammer, and I try and get behind it and give it a good old tap. Problem is the diff casing's in the way, so you'd actually need like a banana shaped punch. Anyway, bought this one from Mini Specs, and can you see it's tapered like that. So you stick this between the ball joint, the CV joint, so you stick this between the CV joint and the diff casing, give it a good old tap, and it just pushes the pop joint off the shaft. Not cheap, it's about £30, but hey, it was a birthday present. And I love it. It's my new favourite Classic Mini tool. What else have I got? As it's Fabrication Nation, I made one of these. Do you know what it is yet? No, I should be saying that. Volcaris is very popular at the moment. This is a flywheel. This is a flywheel jammer type thing. Stops your flywheel from rotating when you need to take the flywheel off or you're cocking it around with your clutch. Again, you can buy them, but I just made it. You know, whatever. How does it work? Just so happens I have a flywheel. This is a mate's one off a 1275 GT that he raced at our local car club, and as you can see, it exploded on it. And it's kind of welded itself on. So my mate who took it off had to actually get the grinder on it to take it off the shaft. It was in his scrap bin and I wanted it. I thought I'd make it into a trophy one day. Anyway, those two holes there, they're the ones that hold your starter motor on. So you take your starter motor off and then you bolt that in and it goes and it sticks in the teeth like that. and then when you start messing around with the nuts and bolts on your flywheel won't rotate. It's as simple as that. I have no idea how much they cost, but that one cost me nothing to make. Another good tool to have in your classic mini toolkit. Final one. Have you ever tried to get on your back brakes on your classic mini? Because then shoes on the back, so you have a piston, and to hold that, what's it called? Brake slave cylinder on the back plate. It has a Cclip, and the Cclip has to clip over the end of the little slave cylinder. Brake cylinder. It's a bugger to get on, it really is. Real pain. And I picked this up at a mini show for £6, and it's worth its weight in gold. So what you do is you thread this bit into where your brake union would normally go in. It wouldn't be connected because you're replacing your cylinder anyway. So you screw that in like that. Until that goes in, and you wind that bit up, that tapered bit, until it's flush with your brake cylinder, and then you put your Cclip in like that. And so obviously that bit's tapered. That bit in there is tapered. So then when you tighten this nut, it pushes that bit a bit closer, bit closer, bit closer, and then eventually what it does is the Cclip not only gets closer to your cylinder, but it also opens up, and then it goes pop off the end of that, and in the little groove that it's supposed to live in, and that little Cclip holds the cylinder onto the back plate. I have spent hours faffing around with those clips trying to get them on, and sometimes I have to prise them open in the vise or something else just to get them on, and then of course they don't actually hold the cylinder on properly when they're there. So these things, cheap as chips. Next time you go to a mini show, buy them. I'm sure you can buy them on eBay. I don't know what it's called, but it's got to have some sort of rear brake cylinder tool. Stick one in your classic mini toolkit. Cramp in the foot. So that's it, another episode of Bernie the 1275 GT. There's no going back now that I've cut the floor out of him, is there? It's quite exciting though. Exciting and worrying all at the same time. But, well, thank you very much. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. And don't forget to follow all the updates on our Facebook page. So until next time, ta-ta for now.